What's up, One Piece fans? It's time for the latest chapter review of the next piece of One Piece, obviously. Chapter 1172, and where 1173 is likely to drop. For some reason, I got confused. Thought there was another break week, and I had a little bit more time to get caught up on other content, because this is, of course, being an incredibly busy time of the work year for me. I thought I had a little bit more time to get this one out, and I didn't have a whole lot to say, honestly, about this chapter. It's a fine chapter. There's a good speech by Elder Jarl that I really like, but for the most part, thought I had a little bit more time. But it seems like 1173 is going to drop either today or tomorrow. So it's about time I got this review out. So 1172. My two favorite parts of this chapter immediately, of course, is the cover. Mr. 2 himself is featured once again. We have a few honorary Straw Hats, as we all know. Number one will always be our princess. Number one will always be Vivi. Vivi will always be the first and foremost, the captain of the honorary Straw Hats, if you will. She's the GOAT. She's the number one. But I'm sorry, Bon Clay, Mr. 2 got to be the second one. Bon Clay is the first mate to Vivi, ironically, but Bon Clay is the first mate to Vivi of the honorary Straw Hat crew. That's just straight up. I don't see an argument. There are some fantastic honorary Straw Hats. There's some fantastic characters, well written, definitely deserve a shout out. But seeing Bon Clay again, it warms the heart. This was, I just want to say, like, straight out of the gate, as a guy, especially when growing up and stuff, and there wasn't as much exposure to these type of characters, you know, I don't want to get into a whole debate or anything like that, or you know, bring up sensitive topics right now, because we want to talk some One Piece, but I just want to say, as just out of the gate, Bon Clay is the example of doing it right, and making a character stick true to their values, and maybe looks a little bit left or right field, looks definitely very quirky to, you know, the standard norm, especially back then at the time when that was released. But that's a way to make you fall in love with a character that is just so iconic, so fantastic. And the limited amount of screen time that Bon Clay actually has, and only featured in 2 real arcs of the entirety of the One Piece story, spanning almost 1,200 chapters at this point, and over 20 years, that speaks volumes about the great writing that Oda portrayed there by showcasing such a unique type of character, going a little outside the square box, and just doing it right. So yeah, Bon Clay, always a treasure, always great to see, and I was just really happy. I know it's just a cover page, but just really happy to see, you know, our beloved Swan again. That's all I'm going to say. So, the majority of this chapter, and it's the reason that I felt like I could not skip this chapter review, but obviously didn't need to get it out right away when I had other priorities going on this week and into last weekend into this week, was because the first half of the chapter is just Gabon going over what's happening, basically a summary, a review. Not saying that it's unnecessary, especially for a weekly with multiple breaks manga, but it's pretty much just summarizing everything we already know and saying, here are our priorities. We got 3 problems. Here's the list of problems, and here's the order in which we need to solve them. Otherwise, solving these problems won't matter if we don't solve this problem, etc., etc. So Gabon is just going down the list and explaining everything while they're going on the list. We have Zoro and Sanji listening in, of course, with the rest of Hirudin and his pirate giant crew. That's literally like the first half of the chapter. Then they get up there, the double page spread. We see all the crazy, you know, there's the different rites, you know, there's the nightmare monsters and all that stuff. Is that the Great Eric? Like, what is going on here? And all the nightmare monsters that, of course, were fueled. Dory and Broggy's crew, of course, are still rampaging and stuff. That, you know, one has a pitchfork, one has a devil battle axe, and it's just going absolutely crazy. They're headed off to kill Chief Jarl. Now, this is where, as I said, everyone's rushing, everyone's trying to figure out exactly what's happening. We get a sort of a map idea where it's explained, okay, here's the school in the library, this is where Saul is, this is where the Straw Hats are, these are the current locations of these guys. So, as I said, 1172, very information heavy, summarizing exactly how everything's going down, where it's all taking place, and what's happening with which group in what location. Not saying it's unnecessary, but it's just a lot of, okay, if you follow along, and you were to reread the last few, dozen chapters or so, you would know all this information, because nothing new is really added. It's just summarizing to make sure everybody's on the same page as we move forward. So after that double page and stuff like that, Jarl, this is where the chapter actually takes off with something a little bit newer, because they do reach the surface. And then Jarl goes on. Elder Jarl goes on and basically gives a speech. And it's a wonderful speech. He's like, "Hear me, Elbaf. I wish to tell you everything before I die." And now, obviously, I don't think Jarl's going to die here. I think he dies by the end of the arc. But I don't think, because that would be a good... It'd be nice to see a send-off of, I might be one of the oldest living things sort of idea. But it's finally my time to go. And he dies at the end of the arc. Maybe from wounds that he suffers here or something like that. But I'm thinking more just, finally, he's like, I can finally die knowing that Elbaf is heralded into the new era. The one that Harald wished for. That the age of... I think now what we're seeing because of this incident, we're going to see this beautiful correlation between the idea of you can still have your warrior's pride, because Harald went one way. It's like politics. Far right might be terrible, but far left might be almost as bad. You know what I mean? You don't want to go extremist, zealous levels of fanatical in any one direction when it comes to leadership and politics and country. So as a result, you really want a balance, right? So I think, once again, Harald went in one direction, way too extreme. I would like to think that maybe this will be Elder Jarl passing on the torch to the next generation, where it's like we can still hold the true values that Harald tried to implement, that we have implemented here with our school, with the owl, with the children, and with Saul and stuff like that. We can keep that, but we don't need to let go of our warrior pride and our traditions and our way of life. We can have an amalgamation. We can fuse these two cultures together. Keep our culture as it is without letting it die, but we can improve on it and add to it without losing the core of what makes us the Giants of Elbaf. And I feel like he's sort of going to die in his sleep. Like, I passed the torch now to, I know with Hyrudin and Loki and Dorian Bragi and stuff, I know that Elbaf's future is secure and I can finally die in peace. I'm feeling something like that. Maybe it's just me, but he gives off this, so sidetrack there, but he gives off this beautiful speech basically saying, he explains the fateful day, and I love how he doesn't straight up tell the people. He twists it in a way that, once again, it's not a lie. It's just not telling the blatant truth, but it works. The way he words it is say, I witnessed a demon slaughter Harald. True. And the rest of his soldiers. Also true. Harald resisted bending the knee and handing Elbaf over to this demon. He fought, and he died. These are all facts. The way he's presenting them is suspect, but these are all facts. So I like that he's telling the truth, and he says Loki is innocent, and we see a double-page spread of the gods and stuff, and I just love Jarl's speech. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. It's just a really well-written speech, and he's speaking to all the people. He even says, children, you must cover your ears right now, sort of idea. If you're listening and stuff, because of course he does, like, such a sweet old man. It's just like, okay, children, cover up your ears, because I'm about to go, you sons of fucking bitches, like immediately, like, turning it on, sort of idea. Like, okay, this is the censored G-rated version. Now 3, 2, 1, R-rated, let's go. He's immediately going to it. He's like, listen up, you bitches. If you spare the children's lives, we will freely give up our history and our culture, and you may do whatever you want. Give us our children back, and we'll come to terms. But if you think that blackmailing us and resorting to these, like, cowardly tactics will break our spirit, who the hell do you think you're talking to? Who the hell do you think you're dealing with? Don't take Harald's patience and assume that we are all like that. And it's just like, yes. I like how he's calling that out, and he's just like, you think you can rule over us? You think you can enslave us? Who the hell do you think you are? We are the giants of Elbath. And if you tread any more, then we shall be. The entirety of Elbath will officially become an enemy to you and the world government. And it's just like, alright. You think we submit to you? We're the rulers. We are the warriors and the giants of Elbath, bitch. And I'm just like, yes, let's go. I'm adding the bitch part. But I just love that he's like, we'll be your enemy then. It's like, you think you can rule us? You think you can enslave us? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? I'm just like, yes. Jarl, preach to these bitches. Preach! And protect the vision that Harald envisioned, my warriors of Elbath. And this is why I'm saying, Harald had the wrong idea. He had a good idea on paper, very terrible execution. But we can now sort of bring back some of that feeling, you know, of what it means to be a warrior of Elbath. You can be a warrior and not be a brute. You know, you can be a warrior, you can be a knight, but not a conqueror. You can be and I don't mean conquer in the cool Conquerors Hockey way. You guys know what I mean. You do not need to be a tyrant to be a king, right? So these are the differences slightly that Harald was unwilling to accept, and he saw the fighting and the warrior's pride as a negative. You know, that's something that needed to be squashed out of Elbath, and he was wrong. And here we're seeing the sort of the culmination of both, and I really am here for it. End of chapter. Zoro pulls up and he goes, there's Dorian Bragi. Grabs a sword. I got a plan. We know what your plan is, Zoro. We always know what your plan is. Cut shit up. If anybody's expecting anything else when that chapter either drops later on tonight or sometime tomorrow, depending on your time zone and stuff like that, if anybody's expecting anything else from Zoro other than grabbing Enma and cutting shit up, I don't know what you're reading. His plan is literally I'm just gonna cut up some bitches. Like that is Zoro's deal. It's worked in the past. It's been working for over 1,000 chapters. It's likely to continue working. So, anyways, that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry how late this one came out, and of course 1,173. By the time this comes out, will likely have been dropped recently. So stay tuned. I'm hoping to get 1,173 out by the end of the weekend. It's, of course, Super Bowl weekend and stuff like that. But I'm hoping that I can get 1,000 caught up with One Piece, 1,173, of course, being the latest chapter today or tomorrow. I'm hoping to get that out as well. So like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for that one, and we'll be all caught up and stuff. And apologies once again for all future videos as well. Not just One Piece, but I'm trying to keep up as best I can. But I'm working much longer hours, extra sort of shifts, if you will, and likely a few 6-day weeks. So, and I still, of course, have my back injury. So there's the bruised organs don't heal in 3 weeks. So there's still a lot going on with me and stuff like that. And I obviously get winded, and I'm running on low fumes a lot of the time this past month. So, but I'm still going to try to get out all the content that I can. Hopefully you guys understand that. And we'll see you guys back here next time. Have a good one, everyone. One Piece is still great. This arc is still really fire. I'm really enjoying this arc. So hopefully you guys are loving Elbath as much as I am. And we'll see you back here next time.